What if banshees are not omens but cursed echoes of the dead? Their wails are not warnings. They are fractured screams, time-looped dirges from battles long ash. The northern kingdoms bled for centuries against Nilfgaard. Realms heal, consider this. Every keening wraith is a soul trapped mid-scream, its tragedy replayed endlessly. No prophet, no omen, only a wound that will not heal. Their wails are not born of the present. They are fractures in time shards of wars fought when the spheres collided. The conjunction did not merely unleash monsters, it fused eras, a scream from a civilization erased by celestial fire replays until the cosmos forgets. Witchers hunt what they cannot comprehend, echoes of a balance shattered, a peace never restored. The continent bleeds, its scars hum with the dead. Every banshee is a question left unanswered, every keening is a battle still being fought. What war, what sin, what rupture in the weave of existence demands this endless dirge? The air itself remembers. What if banshees are not omens but cursed echoes? Their wails do not predict death, they replay it. The conjunction of the spheres did not merely fracture reality, it exhumed remnants of forgotten wars. Long before human kingdoms rose, pre-human civilizations bled into the soil. Their collapses, their genocides, their final gasps, these became the banshees' repertoire. No prophet, no harbinger, only a broken phonograph. The northern wars between Nilfgaard and the north did not create this phenomenon. They merely overlapped with it. Sapkowski's books remain silent, as they must. Thighs is a monster older than witchers. The continent's magic does not bend to mortal chronicles. It archives, it repeats, a scream from a drowned child, a queen's betrayed last breath. The air itself remembers. What else lies trapped in the sphere's shattered glass? The answer lies in Brenna's blood-soaked fields. Sapkowski writes of banshees as wails that repeat the same death over and over, not omens, echoes. The battle of Brenna's screams, trapped in a loop, become a chorus of the unburied, a time loop's cruel arithmetic, one massacre multiplied by eternity. The fall of Sintra added another layer. Callan's final breath, a queen's defiance turned to ash, now weaves through the wails. Ciri, orphaned by fire and betrayal, never heard her mother's voice, yet it haunts her in fragments, a banshee's refrain. What if these spirits are not harbingers but prisoners, their howls not warnings but confessions? Each repetition a failed attempt to escape the moment that killed them, a fisherman's drowned cry, a knight's shattered oath. A child's name lost to smoke. The Witcher journals call them omens, but the truth is quieter. Dead things do not predict, they remember. The air is not a vessel for prophecy, it is a vault for the forgotten. How many deaths are trapped now? Brenna, Sintra. The nameless villages razed, the lovers poisoned, the scholars burned. Their deaths loop like broken wheels. A banshee's song is not a curse. It is a question, asterisk, who will listen? Asterisk, and if no one does, what else will the wind carry besides sorrow? A Velen peasant once spoke of a woman in white, her wail rising as the sun set on sodden hill. Not a warning, a memory. 14 sorceresses burned that day, their screams stitching the sky with sound. The wind does not carry sorrow, at asterisk is asterisk sorrow, woven from their shattered spells. In Toussaint, a witness to the beast of Beauclair's terror described a shriek that preceded the attack, not a portent, a replay. The same shriek heard a decade prior, when northern armies drowned in the Black Marsh. The banshee's song is a loop, not a omen. Each note a shiver from a wound that will not close. The peasant's tale ends with a child asking, asterisk, why does she cry? Asterisk, the answer lingers in the silence after the wail. Asterisk, because we did not. Asterisk, because the living turned away. Because the dead demand no answers, only audience. The sorceress's magic did not vanish. It pooled in the mud, seeped into the roots, became the banshee's borrowed lungs. What war leaves behind is not victory or defeat. It is asterisk sound asterisk, a dirge that outlives the reason for the fight. The wind carries no curses, only questions. Only echoes of those who perished, their final moments replayed for a world that forgets. The banshee is not a prophet, she is a mirror. And in her wail the truth hums, asterisk, no one is listening, no one ever was, asterisk. The trial of the grasses was lost when Kaer Morhen burned, a safeguard shattered, the alchemy that bound echoes to their graves, scattered like ash. What if the banshee's wail is not a warning but a loop, a death song frozen mid-breath, replaying a tragedy no one witnessed? The trial cannot be unlearned. Once its formula dissolves, the veil thins. The dead no longer whisper the asterisk scream asterisk. Leshen in Book 3 spoke of a debt paid in echoes. The Velen contract was never about souls, it was about asterisk containment asterisk. A pact to bury what should not wake. Contrast the old tales, prophets who weep. Replace them with this truth, prisoners who howl. No seer, no omen, just a recording, endless and exact. The same cry, the same blood, the same moment rewound until the world forgets how to listen. The trial's loss was not a skill erased. It was a dam breached, and now, the Banshee's voice is a wound that will not close. A mirror, yes, but one that reflects only the scar. What remains is not prophecy, it is proof. The dead are not warning of tomorrow. They are mourning yesterday, and we fools still call them asterisk omens asterisk. The lodge of sorceresses, fractured by the Thanid coup, turned its gaze inward. Archives burned, lines of succession blurred. Yet their silence on Banshees grew loudest. Did they dismiss the Wails as superstition? Or had they, in their hubris, failed to see the rot beneath? The northern wars did not merely scar flesh the unraveled time. A scream in Keedwin lingers in a Dijkstra's nightmare. A child's cry in Edern echoes in a sorceress' sleep. The Banshee's howl is no oracle's cry. It is a wound that refuses to clot. Consider the lodge's neglect, their focus on bloodlines, on political tides, while the dead screamed through forests. A scholar might argue this was cowardice. A cynic, incompetence, but relics, what if it was fear? A cynic, warnings, but relics, shards of grief trapped in the same temporal storms that warped the war's end. To study them would be to confront a truth. Magic's cost is not measured in lives, but in asterisk memories asterisk. The Banshee's curse is not foresight. It is imprisonment, a soul too broken to die, too fractured to move on. Their wails are not omens, they are elegies. And the lodge, in its collapse, became an elegy to own that failed to hear its own requiem. The lodge's requiem fractured, not into silence, into wails. The northern wars carved their massacres into the fabric of time souls torn from sodden fields, from the siege of Sintra, from the Pirhik gates. Their deaths were not ends, they became anchors. The Hen Iker blood carried in Cirilla's veins did not merely traverse dimensions, it bridged them. A key forged in the collapse of timelines, binding the dead to echoes of their own extinction. Banshees do not weep for the living. They howl for the dead who never left. Their mist is not a veil, it is a wound. A rupture where the air itself reeks of iron and frost, where the ground hums with the weight of unburied bones. The Wails. Fractured audio of 1,000 throat soldiers choking on their last breath, children's lullabies drowned in blood. Each Banshee is a shard of that horror, replaying in a loop too vast for mortal ears to comprehend. The northern kingdoms fell. Nilfgaard's shadow stretched, but the Hen Iker's legacy defied erasure. Cirilla's lineage did not just survive. It pooled the voids between worlds, letting the dead cling to the edges of possibility. A curse, yes, but also a testament. The Banshee's cry is no omen, it is a recording, a relic of a war that never truly ended. And in every wail the past screams, we are still here, we are still here. The cold does not fade, it accumulates like grief. The conjunction did not merely fracture reality, it forged wounds, and in those wounds magic bled raw, unburied, unasked. Banshees are no seers. They are the continent's open graves, howling what was never laid to rest. Every wail is a battle, a betrayal, a child's final breath stretched taut across centuries. The Witchers catalog symptoms but ignore the rot. They name the fungus, not the decay beneath. Sources are not gifts, they are debts. The same forces that birthed elixirs and enchantments also drowned kingdoms in their own sorrows. A sorcerer's hubris becomes a banshee's refrain. A king's greed becomes a curse coiled in the earth. The archives flinch. They trace claws and fangs but refuse to map the hands that carved these monsters into being. What do the Witchers fear, not the monsters? The mirror, for every shriek in the dark, is a verdict. You did this. The dead do not whisper warnings, they demand accountability. And the continent in its silence answers with more silence. The next time you hear a banshee, listen, not for death's approach. For the echo of your own sins, the past is not a prelude, it is a siege. What else lingers, bound not to prophecy but to the scars of a world that bled for centuries? Ravens, willow trees. The cold gleam of a sword unsheathed at dusk. Are they messengers or remnants? The northern wars did not end when the last king fell. Their echoes stretch restless through every shadow and dirge. If a banshee is a wound that will not close, what other ghosts repeat the pain of a forgotten age? The past does not whisper. It howls. What will you answer when it calls your name? Share your theories, unearth the echoes. What if the banshee's wail is not a warning but a wound? A scream torn from the first victims of the conjunction, frozen in the rift's afterimage, not a prophecy, a relic, the continent's oldest ghost.